Yarn weaving. To set yourself up for weaving, you need to warp the loom. I'm taking the tail end of my yarn and taping it onto the back. Then I'm just going to wrap it around and make sure that I line it up in the grooves. Once you're done warping the loom, make sure you finish it off by taping the last string on the back. That's the back and this will be the front. Now we are ready to start weaving. I have cut about an arm span of the color yarn that I want, and I have my needle. This is the eye of the needle, and I'm taking the yarn and pushing it through. So I have a long tail and a short little tail. I'm going to tie a knot. So I make an X, see the X, and then the O, and the top of the X is going to go inside of that O. And I'm going to wrap it around, pull very tight. You might even want to do a double knot. To begin your weaving, you're going to hold your loom down, and with your needle, you're going to pretend like he's a sneaky snake and he's gonna go under, over, under, over. And you're gonna repeat this pattern all the way until the other side. When you get to the other side, you're going to pull your thread through. Pull, 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 until you get to a short, tiny little tail hanging off the side. Notice how I also pushed my thread down, not to the very bottom, but just up a little bit, and that's where I'm going to start my weaving. All right, I have my short little tail on the left, and I'm going to just tape it to the back of my weaving so he doesn't fall out and get loose. You can also tie this tail onto the first string. For yarn weaving, it's kind of like it zigzags back and forth. I'm gonna do the opposite. So my last string went over, so I'm gonna go under. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And I'm gonna continue that until I get to the other side. Remember, if it's kind of tricky, you can help the string or help the yarn go over and then pull, pull, pull. It's very important that you pull, and then you're going to push him down to the ground, ground, ground. So he's snug as a bug in a rug. Now I'm going to go back the other way. Remember to check. My last yarn string went over, so I started going under. As long as you can look at the last yarn that you did to help you figure out which way to go, you will do it correctly. Then I'm going to pull, 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 and then push him down to the ground, ground, ground. So he's snug as a bug in a rug. I'm going to make a mistake. Let's see if you can catch it. My last yarn went over, so I'm going to go over. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. When I get to the end, I'm going to pull, pull, pull. Uh-oh, what just happened? I went over and then I went over again. And I should always do the opposite. Never the same. As you continue to weave, make sure that you push everything together so it's snug as a bug in a rug. I'm gonna make another mistake. Let's see if you can catch under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. This mistake is really hard to see, but if you look very, very closely, you can see that I did 2 overs It should always go over, under. So to get out of this mistake, I have to kick my snake out of there, and he has to go back the way he came. Otherwise, you'll make a tangled knot. So I'm weaving exactly back the way that my orange yarn went, and I'm gonna pull it all the way out. Now that I've fixed my mistake, I can continue weaving. Remember to go over, under. Another mistake that you can make is to not pull your thread or your yarn enough. Remember, when you're weaving, you want it to be snug as a bug in a rug. If you leave it all loosey-goosey hanging out, it's not gonna look nice. So to fix that, I'm going to come on the bottom side here, the left side, and I'm gonna pull it over to the right to get rid of it. And then I need to, I accidentally pulled it too tight, so pull it back a little bit. I need to push it down so that it's snug as a bug in a rug. And then I'm going to fix the next part by pulling it the opposite way. Remember, don't pull too tight, and always push everything together. When you're done weaving enough of the color that you want, we're going to switch colors by undoing the knot, or you can use scissors to cut the knot off if you tied it too tight. I'm just gonna leave that tail hanging off to the side, and we'll fix him at the end. I'm gonna start my weaving the same way, by threading my needle. So I'm going to put my yarn inside the eye of the needle, and I'm going to tie a knot, a simple X, and then under the bridge and pull it tight. Once I have my yarn tied on, I'm going to start where I left off. So just leave that little orange tail hanging out, and then remember to do the opposite of what you did last. And it's just the same way that we've been weaving, over, under, push them down, don't forget to pull, either way you go. You can weave many different colors. I chose 5 different colors, and I wove some of them big and used a lot of yarn of that color, and then some of them are very skinny. So it's up to you, because you are the artist. Once you finish your last piece of yarn that goes from side to side, you're going to tie it around a piece of yarn that goes up and down. Remember, just loop it through that hole, and we're going to do a double one just to make sure, and then we can trim off the extra by cutting it. On these little tails, I'm going to tie them together. So notice how I'm tying the purple and the white together, and then I will tie the blue and the white together. That's just gonna seal that up, and then later, after I tie all of these, I can cut off the long parts that are still hanging. Cut your weaving off the loom. Flip your weaving to the back. You're going to take off any tape that is on the top of the threads, so that you can take your scissors and cut through the middle of all of these strings. Now I'm going to tie off my weaving by taking the 2 yarns that are beside each other, and I'm going to tie a double knot. 1, 2. Make sure you pull it very tight. I'm going to do that on all of the strings that are hanging off. This will secure your weaving so that it does not fall apart. For this part, I just cut the top strings off, took a popsicle stick and the thread that I wanted, and I'm just sewing it or wrapping it around into the weaving, leaving a long tail on the left side and a long tail on the right side. I will take those and join them at the top, and then I have a place to hang it. I cannot wait to see yours. Remember, take your time, try your best, and have fun.